Now, Sierra Leone's Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Alfred Nelson Williams, has been kidnapped in the country's northern Kaduna state. The High Commissioner in Abuja has confirmed the news. Sources say he left the Sierra Leone mission in Abuja to attend a military graduation ceremony in Kaduna. Now, the identity of the kidnappers is not yet known, but they have issued a demand for a $40 million ransom. Nelson Williams is a former head of Sierra Leone's army. Now, in other news, also from Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has been meeting leaders from the troubled Niger Delta region. A spate of attacks on oil facilities there is hurting Africa's biggest economy. Here's more from CCTV's Kelechi Emekalam.
Dialogue is one avenue the president is pursuing to try and end the violence. He's also offered talks with the group behind the attacks, the self-styled Delta Avengers. Buhari is calling for calm and says he will ensure investment and development in the region. Niger Delta provides the crude oil that accounts for 70% of Nigeria's exports, yet most of the people live in poverty, and much of the land has been polluted by oil drilling there. That deprivation is one factor behind the emergence of groups such as the Niger Delta Avengers. Their attacks have tapered off in recent weeks, but at one stage they'd helped cut production to its lowest in more than 20 years. Buhari previously has tried sending in more soldiers as part of the general crackdown. Nigerians are hoping negotiations will prove more successful in quelling the troubles. Kelechi, Emekalam, CCTV Abuja, Nigeria.
Well, let's bring you an update on both of those developments coming out of Nigeria. Let's start, of course, with the kidnapping of Sierra Leone's Deputy High Commissioner in Nigeria. Joining us from Abuja is CCTV's Sophia Dengo. Sophia, at this stage, has there been any further information regarding the kidnapping of Sierra Leone's Alfred Nelson Williams?
Well, what security agencies have been able to disclose, and the governor of Kaduna State, a northwestern state here in Nigeria, is that the Major General, Nelson Williams, was traveling at 4 a.m. this morning to join this graduation ceremony. Along the way, he was encountered what we know now are kidnappers who have reached out to the Sierra Leonean embassy as well as security authorities here in Nigeria, looking for a ransom of close to $40 million in the return of the Major General. What we do know so far is that he is still alive. And the diplomatic agencies here are working around the clock. There has been a special unit that has been dispatched in Kaduna State right now, really specifically looking at this specific matter. But of course, this kidnapping comes on the heels of many other high-profile kidnappings that have taken place in Kaduna and many parts of Nigeria. But Kaduna seems to be the area or the hotbed of a series of kidnappings, and of course this being one of them today.
As you said, of course, not an unfamiliar situation in that particular area. And now, Sophia, let's turn to the Niger Delta issue. President Muhammadu Buhari has now urged local leaders to get involved in terms of bringing peace to this region. How effective could that strategy be? Because to some extent, does this not involve engaging the militants directly?
Well, Lindy, as in the past, there have been these short-term ceasefire agreements that have not necessarily yielded a positive result. So, to embed the local communities in an anti-violent or an anti-conflict strategy for Nigeria seems to provide more long-term solutions, as well as other solutions that have already been put in place. The Niger Delta area has been leaning on an amnesty program for quite some time now, almost 6 to 7 years, really extending an arm of government in which, armed groups are allowed to put down their arms in exchange for a small stipend and really to maintain a sense of peace, as well as President Muhammadu Buhari having launched in the beginning of this year a cleanup effort and engaging the community more in terms of understanding really what the grassroots, situation is and really what is fueling these armed groups, as we've seen in the case of the Niger Delta Avengers. Lindy.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for now, but thanks very much, Sophia Dengo, live for us there in Abuja.